My child, you made it to the end of another day, and I know what that cost you. I know it was not easy. I know there were moments today that took more out of you than anyone around you realized. Moments where you smiled when you did not feel like smiling, where you kept going when stopping felt like the more honest response, where you carried things in silence that were not designed to be carried silently. I saw every single one of those moments, and I want you to know something before this night goes any further. I am proud of you for making it to the end of today, for still being here, for the quiet, stubborn faithfulness of a person who keeps showing up even when showing up is hard. That matters to me more than you know. Tonight, I want you to do something that might be the most important thing you do all week. I want you to let go, not of the things that need your attention tomorrow, not of the responsibilities and the relationships and the realities of your life, but of the weight of it. The specific heaviness that comes not from the things themselves, but from carrying them without laying them down in between. Tonight, for the next hour and a half, I want you to let me carry everything you brought into this night with you. And I want you to simply rest. Not because nothing matters, because everything matters. And the person who has to deal with everything that matters tomorrow needs rest tonight. Real rest, the kind that reaches more than your body, the kind that settles something in the center of you that has been unsettled for longer than you should have let it go unsettled. That rest is available to you right now, and it starts with the decision to close your eyes, to let your breathing slow, to stop solving and planning and processing for just a little while, and to let my voice be the thing you are paying attention to instead. I am here. I have been here all day. I will be here all night. And I have some things I want to say to you before you sleep.
My child, let me tell you what I saw today. Not to replay the hard parts, but because I want you to know that nothing about your day was invisible to me. Nothing was ordinary in the way that ordinary means unnoticed or unconsidered. I was in every moment of it, present, attentive, more aware of what was happening inside you than anyone else in any room you were in today. I saw the moment you woke up, the first few seconds before the day fully arrived, that brief window before your mind remembered everything that was waiting for it. I was there in those seconds, and I was watching when the weight landed again, when the mental list reformed, when the anxiety or the sadness or the weariness or whatever specific flavor of hard things your particular life is carrying right now reassembled itself on your chest. I saw that. And I want you to know that I felt something in that moment. Not judgment, not impatience, something much closer to the feeling a parent has when they watch their child carry something too heavy for their size, and they are close enough to help, but the child has not yet reached out their hand. I have been close enough to help all day. I am close enough right now, and I'm asking you to reach out your hand. I saw how you handled the difficult conversations today, the ones where you had to be careful with your words because the situation required careful handling, the ones where someone said something that landed in a way they probably did not intend, and you had to decide in real time what to do with the feeling it produced. The ones you avoided because the timing was not right, or because you did not have enough left in you to have them well. I saw your navigation of all of it. And I want to tell you something about the way you handled today's complexity. You did better than you think you did. I know that you are cataloging the moments where you fell short, the things you said that you wish you had said differently, the responses that were less gracious than you intended, the moments where the weariness showed in ways you did not mean to let it show. I know your internal review of today is probably harder on you than it needs to be, because that is what you do. That is what people who care about doing well tend to do. They hold themselves to a standard that they would never hold anyone else to, and they find themselves lacking against that standard in ways that pile up into a weight that gets carried into the night. My child, tonight I am asking you to put down the internal review, not because accountability does not matter, but because there is a time for that work, and the middle of the night is not it. The middle of the night is for rest, and rest requires a temporary suspension of the evaluation, a decision to say, today is done. Whatever it was, it is done. Tomorrow I can engage with whatever needs engaging, but right now, tonight, I am giving myself permission to lay it all down and rest. Give yourself that permission, because I am giving it to you. I do not need you to be perfect before I allow you to rest. I never have. That is not how I operate. Rest is not a reward for a good performance. Rest is a gift I give to the ones I love because I designed them to need it. And you need it tonight, more than you're probably admitting to yourself.
So as we move through this night together, I want you to feel the permission of it. The permission to not have everything solved, to not have everything figured out, to not have arrived at a place of resolution on everything that is unresolved. Just to rest in the company of the one who is not asleep, who is not going to let things fall apart while you recover, who is not only capable of holding things together while you rest, but who has been holding things together the entire time, whether you were awake or not. I have got this, all of it. Everything you carried today and everything that is waiting for you tomorrow, I have it, and you can let it go for tonight. It will still be there when you need to engage with it, but tonight it is mine to carry, yours to release. And that exchange, that specific surrender, is the beginning of the rest I have for you. My child, I want to spend some time now with the anxiety, because I know it is there, even now, even as you are listening, even as you are trying to rest. There is a part of you that is still running, still processing, still turning things over, still trying to find the angle that resolves the thing that has not resolved, still rehearsing the conversation, still calculating the options, still doing the thing that anxiety does when you try to stop it, which is to remind you of all the reasons stopping is not safe. I want to speak directly to that part of you tonight, not to shame it, not to dismiss it, but to address it with the specific truth it needs in order to be able to release its grip enough for you to actually rest. The anxiety says something like this: if you stop paying attention to the problem will get worse. If you let your guard down, something you have not prepared for will happen. The vigilance is the only thing between you and a bad outcome. If you rest, you are being irresponsible, and irresponsibility has costs. So you must stay alert. You must keep thinking. You must not allow yourself to fully let go.
I need to answer that voice directly because it sounds like wisdom, but it is not wisdom. It is fear wearing the clothing of wisdom. And there is a very important difference between the two. Wisdom knows when to engage and when to surrender. Wisdom knows that there are things that human attention can affect and things that human attention cannot affect, and wisdom knows the difference between the two. Fear does not know the difference. Fear applies the same vigilance to everything because fear is not responding to specific threats. Fear is responding to the general condition of being alive in a world where bad things can happen. And that general condition does not resolve with more vigilance. It only resolves with trust, with a settled knowing that the one who holds the outcome is trustworthy, and with the decision to let that trustworthiness be enough.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to me. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. I want you to notice what that verse does not say. It does not say, do not be anxious because the thing you are anxious about will certainly turn out fine. It does not say, do not be anxious because your worst fears will never come true. It says, do not be anxious because there is an alternative to anxiety that produces something better. And that alternative is bringing the thing directly to me. With thanksgiving, with the posture of a child who trusts the Father to handle what the child cannot handle. And what the verse promises from that posture is not a guaranteed outcome. It is a peace that surpasses understanding. A peace that surpasses understanding. What does that mean? It means a peace that does not logically follow from your circumstances. A peace that does not make sense given everything that is unresolved. A peace that cannot be explained by the situation improving because the situation has not necessarily improved. It is a peace that arrives from a different source entirely, from the one whose presence is more real than the circumstances, whose faithfulness is more settled than the uncertainty, whose love is more constant than the fear. That peace, the kind that does not need the circumstances to change before it arrives, is available to you right now. In this specific moment, with everything still unresolved, with all the questions still unanswered, with the same life waiting for you tomorrow that was waiting for you this morning. Tonight, right now, as you listen to this, I am offering you that peace. Not as a concept, as an actual presence, as something that can move from the outside of you to the inside if you will open the door and let it in. And the way you open the door is exactly what I described. You bring me the specific thing, the specific fear, the specific unresolved situation. You name it, not out loud if that feels awkward, just in your heart. You bring it to me, and you say, Father, I cannot hold this tonight. I trust you with it. And you release it. Do that right now. Whatever the specific thing is that the anxiety is holding tonight, whatever it has been turning over, whatever it keeps returning to even when you try to redirect it, name it in your heart. Bring it to me and release it. I will hold it through the night, and tomorrow, when you need to engage with it again, it will still be there. But tonight, it is mine.
My child, I want to talk about the loneliness now, because I know it is there too, not for everyone who is listening tonight, but for some of you. more of you than would be willing to say it out loud. A loneliness that has nothing to do with whether other people are present in your life. A loneliness that can exist in a full house, in a relationship, in a room full of people who know your name. The specific loneliness of not being fully known, not being fully understood. Carrying things that you have no one to carry them with. Being in the middle of an experience that no one around you has quite lived, and therefore no one around you can quite accompany. That loneliness is one of the heaviest things a person can carry, because it is invisible, because the people who could potentially address it do not know it is there, because explaining it requires a kind of vulnerability that the very loneliness makes harder, and so it tends to be carried alone, in silence, in the private spaces, in the nights when the house is quiet and there is nothing to distract from the particular weight of it. I see it. I have always seen it, and I want to tell you something about it that I need you to really hear. You have never been as alone as the loneliness has told you you were. I know that might sound like a platitude. I know that in the middle of genuine loneliness, statements like "you are never truly alone" can sound like exactly the kind of thing someone says when they do not know what else to say. But I want to say it differently. I want to say it not as a comfort phrase, but as a specific claim about something that has been actually true in every moment of your life, including the moments that felt the most isolating. In every room you have ever been in where you felt unseen, I was seeing you. In every conversation where you felt like you were performing a version of yourself rather than actually being known, I knew the real version. In every night like this one where the quiet felt too loud and the aloneness felt too heavy, I was there, not as an abstract concept of divine presence, as an actual witness, as someone who knew your name and your story and every layer of what you were carrying, and who was present with you in it in a way that no human presence in that moment could have been. That presence has been constant, from the first moment of your existence to this exact second as you listen to these words. I have not been absent for a single moment of it. Not the moments that felt like silence, not the moments that felt like abandonment, not the moments that felt like I had turned my attention somewhere else. I have never turned my attention somewhere else. You have my full attention. You have always had my full attention. And the companionship I offer is not limited by the constraints that human companionship is limited by. I am not distracted. I am not preoccupied. I am not only partially present while the rest of me is elsewhere. I am completely here, completely with you, completely attentive to everything that is happening in your specific life right now.
I will not leave you as orphans. That is what I said. That is what I promised. And I have kept that promise through every season of your life, including the ones that felt like orphanhood, including the ones where the absence of human companionship felt so acute that the concept of divine presence felt thin by comparison. I know what it feels like to want someone present in a way you can hear and touch and see. I know that the presence I offer does not resolve that longing in the same way that human presence does, and I am not asking you to pretend otherwise. I am asking you to let what I offer be in addition to what you long for, not instead of, in addition to. Because the kind of companionship I offer, the being fully known and fully loved and fully accompanied, That is something that even the best human relationships cannot fully provide. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, as completely as it has ever been. You are not alone tonight. You have never been alone. And in the silence of this night, I am asking you to let that truth be more present to you than the feeling that contradicts it. My child, let us talk about tomorrow, because I know that for many of you, it is not just today that is heavy. It is the anticipation of tomorrow, the week ahead, the month ahead, the situation that has been in the background of your mind for longer than you would like, and that does not seem to be resolving on any timeline that feels manageable. The future feels uncertain in a way that produces a specific kind of dread, a low-grade, constant awareness that things could go wrong, that the thing you fear could actually happen, that the worst-case scenario, the one you have been running in the background of your mind like a program you cannot fully close, could be where the story is actually heading. I want to address that directly tonight, not by telling you that your fears will never come true, because I am not going to make promises about specific outcomes that I have not specifically promised. I am not going to tell you that nothing hard is coming. I cannot promise the absence of hard things, because that is not the promise I have made. The promise I have made is different, and it is better. The promise is that I am already in tomorrow. Right now, as you lie awake tonight, wondering about what tomorrow holds, I am already there. In the meeting you are dreading, in the conversation you do not know how to have, in the diagnosis you might receive, in the financial pressure that is not going to be resolved before the morning, in the relationship that is still in tension, in the uncertainty about the future that has no clear resolution. I am already in all of it, working, moving, preparing, establishing the conditions for exactly what each moment will need from me when it arrives.
Isaiah chapter 46, verses 9 to 10. I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me. I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times what is still to come. I say my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. I make known the end from the beginning. I know how tomorrow ends. I know how the situation that is worrying you right now resolves. I know the answer to the question you cannot answer and the outcome of the circumstances that feel uncontrollable right now. I know. Not in the way that a forecaster makes educated guesses, in the way that the author of the story knows the ending because the author wrote it. And the ending of your story, not just tomorrow's chapter, the full arc of your life in my hands, is good. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. All things work together for good. That is not a promise that every individual moment will be comfortable or painless or exactly what you would choose. It is a promise about the direction and the destination. The trajectory is good. The destination is good. And the God who is already in tomorrow is the same God who has been faithful in every yesterday you have ever had. Think about your yesterdays for a moment. Not the comfortable ones, the hard ones, the ones that felt at the time like they might be the end of something important, the relationships that ended, the opportunities that did not materialize, the seasons that felt like pure loss. Look at those from where you are standing now. Not all of them have fully resolved into the good that was promised. I acknowledge that. Some things are still in process. Some things will not fully make sense on this side. But even in the ones that have had enough time to show some of their meaning, can you see it? Even partially. The way the hard thing served a purpose that the comfortable alternative would not have served. The way the loss created a space that needed to be created. The way the painful season produced something in you that you now carry and value and could not have had any other way. That is the pattern. And it continues into tomorrow, and the day after, and the year after. The God who has been faithful in your past is the same God who is already in your future. And He is not going to start being unfaithful now.
My child, I want to take some time right now to speak over you. Not just encouragement, something more specific than that. Something that addresses the particular ways that life and pain and the accumulation of hard seasons can erode a person's understanding of who they are and who they are to me. Because one of the most consistent things I see in the people I love is a progressive narrowing of self-understanding. A gradual replacement of the broad and beautiful and accurate picture of who I made them to be with a smaller picture. A picture drawn by their hardest experiences, by the words of people who did not see them fully, by the gaps between what they hoped for themselves and what has materialized, by the internal voice that keeps a running account of every failure and rarely balances it against the full ledger. I want to address that narrowing tonight. I want to speak the truth about who you are into the space where the smaller picture has been living. And I want you to ask you to receive it, not intellectually, in the place where self-understanding actually lives, in the gut, in the chest, in the place that determines how you move through the world. You are made in my image, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. This is the first and most foundational thing I want you to receive tonight, not as a theological statement, as a personal one. As a statement about you specifically. You carry something of me in the structure of who you are. Not everything about you reflects me perfectly. You are broken in the ways that every person in a fallen world is broken. But the underlying structure, the capacity for love and creativity and reason and relationship and meaning-making and beauty recognition and justice caring, those things are in you because they are in me, and I placed them in you when I made you. You are not a random arrangement of matter. You are a specific and intentional expression of something I wanted to exist. And what I made when I made you was good. You are known completely and loved completely simultaneously. This is one of the most remarkable things about how I love, and I want you to let it fully land. In human relationships, knowledge and love are often in tension. As someone comes to know you more fully, as the parts you initially kept hidden become visible, the love can sometimes diminish, because what was hidden turns out to be less lovable than what was presented. I do not operate that way. I know everything, everything. The thoughts before they form in your mind, the motives you do not always fully acknowledge even to yourself,
the versions of yourself that you would never show to anyone, the ugliest moments, the most shameful memories, the deepest fears, the most persistent failures. I know all of it, and I love you completely, without diminishment, with the same fullness of love that has never been contingent on your presenting well. You are chosen, not as a result of an audition, not because you beat out other candidates, not because something about you specifically qualified you over others, but because choosing is what I do. Before the foundation of the world, I chose you. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4. Before you existed to be evaluated, before you had done anything right or wrong, before you had developed into whoever you were going to become, I chose you as an expression of my sovereignty and my love, not as a reward for performance, as a pure act of will and love that predates anything you could have done to earn it.
You are my child, not metaphorically, in the deepest sense of the word child, with all the rights and access and belonging that come with being in the family. John chapter 1, verse 12. To all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. The right, a legal standing, a permanent status, not revocable based on behavior, not conditional on performance, a right. You belong. You are in. You have access. You can come to me at any time, in any state, with any load, and you will be received as a child is received by a father who loves them. You are held. John chapter 10, verse 29. No one can snatch you out of my hand. That is structural. That is architectural. That is the permanent condition of your relationship with me. Not snatchable, not removable, not able to be taken away from where you are held. The force that would be required to remove you from my hand does not exist, because nothing is more powerful than me, and I am holding you right now, tonight, in this specific moment of uncertainty and weariness and whatever else you brought into this night with you. You are in my hand, and you are staying there. You are more than a conqueror. Romans chapter 8, verse 37. I said more, which means the categories of hard things that have come against you, the attacks, the losses, the disappointments, the sustained pressures. You have not just survived them. You have been made more through them than you would have been without them. The conquering that I am describing is not just the absence of defeat. It is the acquisition of something through the battle that you did not have before the battle. The strength you now carry because of what you have been through. The compassion that was forged in the hard places. The depth of faith that only forms under sustained weight. The wisdom that was bought with actual experience. Those things make you more. More than you were before. More than a conqueror. Through me, who loves you. My child, I need to go somewhere that might feel uncomfortable for a few minutes,
but I want to go there with you because I believe it is holding something that needs releasing before you can fully rest. I want to talk about the things you have not yet forgiven yourself for. I know they are there, the specific memories that carry a particular weight, the decisions you would make differently if you had them back, the moments where you fell short of who you wanted to be in a way that still stings when it surfaces, the things you said or did or failed to do that affected other people in ways you wished they had not, the patterns you have repeated that you promised yourself you would stop repeating, the gap between who you are called to be and who you have sometimes been, that gap, and the specific memories that inhabit it. Those things tend to surface at night, in the quiet, when there is nothing to distract from them. I want to say something very directly about those things.
I have already handled them. Not in the process of handling them. Already. Completely. The cross was not a partial payment against the debt of human failure. It was the full settlement. Every specific thing in the list that your conscience keeps, every item that your memory brings up when you try to rest, every failure and falling short, and harm done and promise broken, the blood of my Son was sufficient to cover every one of those things. Not most of them, every one, without exception, without remainder, without a category of things that were too bad to be included in the covering. Psalm chapter 103, verse 12. As far as the east is from the west, so far has He removed our transgressions from us. Not reduced them, not put them on a payment plan, removed them. The distance between east and west is not a finite distance. You cannot travel east and eventually reach west. They are directions, not locations. The removal is total. The distance is infinite. The things that were there are not there anymore. Not because they did not happen, but because the one who has the authority to forgive has forgiven, and the forgiveness is complete. The enemy uses those memories as weapons. He brings them back not to produce healthy remorse that leads to growth. He brings them back to produce condemnation that leads to paralysis. And I need you to learn to tell the difference between the two. Healthy remorse says, "That was wrong. Here is what I can learn from it. Here is what I can do differently." And then it moves forward. Condemnation says, "That was wrong, and it will always define you, and you will never be free from it, and you are not who you think you are because of it." The first voice is mine. The second is not mine. It has never been mine. I do not condemn. Romans chapter 8, verse 1. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. No condemnation, not reduced condemnation, not conditional condemnation, no condemnation. That is the status of the person who belongs to me, and you belong to me, which means the condemnation that the enemy is applying to you in the quiet moments of this night has no legal standing. It is a claim made by someone who has no authority to make it, and you have every right to say, "That claim has been settled by my Father, and it is settled in my favor, and I am not going to spend another night under the weight of something that has already been paid for." Say that tonight in your heart. Whatever specific thing the condemnation is about, say, "This has been settled. My Father paid for it. It does not define me. It does not disqualify me. It does not determine my future. It is settled, and I am free. That freedom is not something you earned. It is something I gave, and the giving was permanent, and the freedom is real. And tonight I want you to actually rest in it, to let the absence of condemnation be the actual felt experience of this night, rather than just the theological position you know to be true. Let it be real. Let it settle. You are free. Completely. Right now. Tonight.
My child, I want to talk about the relationships now, because I know that for many of you, the weight you brought into this night is at least partly relational. The relationship that is in tension. The person who hurt you and may not know they did, or may not care that they did. The connection that fell apart in a way that still has threads of grief in it, even if the grief is not fresh. The relationship you are not sure how to repair. The person you love who is making choices that frighten you. The family dynamic that has never fully resolved. The longing for connection that has not yet been met. Relationships carry some of the heaviest things a person can carry because they involve other people, and other people are not in your control. You can be your best self in a relationship and still have it not work the way you hoped. You can love someone as well as you know how and still watch them make choices that damage themselves and the connection between you. You can want reconciliation more than anything and still find that the other person is not ready or willing or able to meet you there. The relational weight is some of the heaviest because it is not reducible to something you can simply decide to fix. I see the specific relational weight you are carrying tonight. I know which relationship is in the foreground of your mind. I know the specific complexity of it, the history, the hope, the disappointment, the love that persists alongside the frustration or the grief or the unresolved tension. I see all of it, and I have some things I want to say about it. First, every person you love is also in my hands. The ones who are making choices that worry you, the ones who have hurt you, the ones who seem far from me right now, the ones whose lives are heading in directions that break your heart. They are in my hands. Not in the way that removes their freedom. I honor human freedom, even when it is used in ways that break my heart, but in the way that means I see them, I love them, I am working in them, even when the working is not yet visible, and I am not finished with their story any more than I am finished with yours. The prayers you have prayed for the people you love, those prayers are not wasted. They are accumulated, every one of them, in the hands of the one who loves those people more than you are capable of loving them, and who is working in ways that your visibility cannot access. Second, the person who hurt you. I want to speak to that tonight, not to minimize what was done to you. What was done to you was real. The damage was real. The cost was real. But the weight of unforgiveness, the carrying of that specific hurt, is costing you something you cannot afford to keep paying. Not because the person deserves your forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about what they deserve.
It is about what you need. The forgiveness I am asking you to extend, the decision to release the case, to hand it to me, that is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you. It is a gift you give to yourself. The weight of held offense, the energy of maintained bitterness, the ongoing cost of replaying what was done, that weight belongs to a category of things that you were never designed to carry indefinitely. And I am asking you to put it down. Not tonight, if that feels like too much. But I want you to know that the door is open, that whenever you are ready to release it, I will receive it. I will hold the justice. I will manage the accounting. And you will be free of the carrying of it. That freedom is available to you whenever you are ready.
Third, the longing for connection. The places where you wish your relational life looked different than it does. The specific absence of the kind of companionship you most deeply want. I see that longing. And I am not dismissing it or spiritualizing it away. It is real. It is legitimate. And I intend to meet it. Not always in the ways you currently imagine, but I am a God who places the lonely in families. Psalm chapter 68, verse 6. I am in the process of building around you a community of people who carry the right things for this season of your life. That may not be fully visible yet, but it is in motion. And the specific ache of relational longing that you carry tonight, I want to hold that for you too, alongside everything else. Tonight, it is mine, and you can rest, my child. My child, I want to speak to your body now. Because so many of you have brought physical weariness and physical concern and physical pain into this night. And the body is not separate from the rest of who you are. The weariness in your body is connected to the weariness in your spirit. The tension you carry physically is connected to the weight you carry emotionally. And I want to speak to all of it tonight. I made your body, every system, every cell, every process that happens without your conscious direction, the breathing that continues while you sleep, the repair that your body does in the night, the complex and remarkable biology of a living human being. I designed all of it with enormous care, with extraordinary complexity, and I have not stopped being attentive to what is happening in it. If you are carrying health concerns tonight, if there is a diagnosis that is frightening you, if there is a symptom that you have not yet brought to anyone but that has been present in the background of your awareness, if there is pain that is chronic and wearying and that you have learned to function around but that is still there, I see it. I am aware of it. And I want you to know that my healing is not a past tense thing. It is present tense, active, ongoing. I am the same God who healed in the accounts of Scripture, and I have not changed. I am still a healer. And tonight, as you rest, I am working in your body in ways that science can sometimes measure and sometimes cannot. Trust me with your body the way you trust me with your soul.
I also want to speak to the physical tiredness, the bone-deep weariness that is not just about not having slept enough. That goes deeper than sleep deprivation into something that comes from sustained effort, from carrying too much for too long, from the particular depletion that comes not from extraordinary events, but from ordinary days that require more than ordinary strength. That tiredness, I see it. And tonight, I want you to let the rest I am offering go as deep as the weariness goes. Not just surface rest, rest that reaches the places the tiredness has reached. Rest that restores at the level that restoration is needed.
Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 to 31. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. That renewal, that specific replenishment of strength that goes deeper than sleep, is available to you tonight as you rest in my presence. Let it come. Receive it. Let the night be not just a pause from the weariness, but an actual renewal of what has been depleted. My child, I want to talk about the dreams now, the specific things you have been believing for, the hopes that have been in your heart for a long time. Some of them spoken, some of them too private or too uncertain to have been said out loud to anyone. The version of your future that you carry quietly, the thing you wake up wanting and go to sleep still waiting for. I see those dreams. I know each one specifically. And I want to say something tonight that I need you to receive, even if the receiving requires overriding a protective reflex that has developed from hoping for things and not yet seeing them arrive. The dreams I placed in you are not accidents. They did not form by chance from some random combination of desire and imagination. I put them there specifically as signals of direction, as breadcrumbs on the path toward the things I have planned for your life. The longing you carry for specific things is not arbitrary. It is connected to something real, something that I intend, something that your life is actually moving toward, even in the seasons when the movement is not visible. I know how long some of those dreams have been waiting. I know the specific years that have passed between the first clear sense of what you were carrying and the present moment where the carrying continues without yet arriving. I know what that length of time can do to a hope, how it can erode the clarity of the original vision, how the original brightness can fade under the accumulated weight of unrealized expectation, how a person can go from believing wholeheartedly to believing carefully to protecting themselves from believing fully, because the cost of being fully invested in something that has not yet arrived is higher than they can afford to keep paying.
I want to speak to the version of the dream that has faded, the one you have filed away under things that probably were not meant to be, the version you replaced with something smaller and more achievable because the original felt too exposed. I want to say something to that dream that has been quietly waiting in the background. It is not too late.
and I have not changed what I put there. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. I did not say, I knew the plans I had for you, past tense. I said, I know, present tense, active. The plans are current. They have not been revised downward. They have not been replaced with lesser plans because the original timeline did not work out. They are the same plans, and my plans do not expire. They do not have a window that closes if you miss them. They have a timing that is mine to manage and mine to fulfill, and they are still in motion. What I am asking you to do tonight is to let the hope come back. Not recklessly, not without the wisdom that experience has given you, but fully, with the permission to want the original version of the dream again, to stop settling in your expectation for the smaller version, to open your imagination back up to what I originally put there, because what I originally put there is what I still intend. And the season that is coming is going to need you to have your full expectation intact when it arrives. Tonight, as you rest, let the hope come back. Let yourself want what I put in you to want. Let the dream that has been protected by distance and caution and the self-defense of reduced expectation come back into the full light of active believing. I am asking for that because what is coming is going to require it.
My child, it is deep into the night now, and some of you are already drifting, feeling the weight of the day finally releasing, the breathing slowing, the body beginning to do what it was designed to do in the dark. And I want to meet you right there, in that threshold place between wakefulness and sleep, in the space where the defenses come down and the control loosens, and the real state of the person becomes most visible. I am here, in that threshold place. I have always been here, in the space between the last conscious moment and the first unconscious one, in the place where the day releases its grip and the night receives you. I am present in that space with a completeness that the waking mind sometimes makes harder to access, because the waking mind is managing, evaluating, protecting, and in the management and evaluation and protection, it sometimes creates distance from the awareness of my presence. But in this threshold space, where the managing is releasing, where the evaluation is pausing, where the protection is lowering, you can feel something that is harder to feel in the full activity of the day. My nearness. Not as a theological position, as an actual felt reality. The closeness of the one who has been here all along, and who is most accessible when the noise level drops enough to hear something quieter than noise. Let yourself feel that nearness right now, not forcing it, not manufacturing it, just allowing, just being open to the possibility that the quiet you are entering right now is not empty, that the darkness you are descending into is not absence, that the rest you are approaching is not just biological recovery, but genuine encounter with the one who knew you would be listening to this tonight, who arranged for this to reach you, who has things to say to you in the quiet
that the fullness of the day has not had room for. I see the specific version of you that exists right now, at this time of night, with your defenses down and your managing paused, and whatever armor you wear in the world set aside. And I want to tell you something about what I see. I see someone beautiful. Not beautiful in the performance sense, not beautiful because of how well you function, or how competently you manage, or how successfully you present yourself. Beautiful in the original sense, in the sense that what I made when I made you has inherent worth and wonder that does not depend on your performance of it. The specific combination of everything you are, the way your mind works, the way your heart loves, the things that make you laugh, the things that break your heart, the specific texture of your personality, the gifts I placed in you, the wounds that have shaped you, all of it together, in this particular arrangement that exists only in you and will never be replicated. I find that beautiful. I find you beautiful. I know that is hard to receive. I know that the internal voice that runs the ongoing evaluation of your worth tends to produce a different assessment. I know that the gap between who you are and who you want to be feels significant from the inside. I know that the beauty I see is not always what you see when you look at yourself. But I want to tell you that what I see is accurate, and what the inner critic shows you is not the whole picture. And on the days when you cannot hold both of those things simultaneously, when the gap between my assessment and your own feels too wide to bridge, I want you to choose mine. Not because yours is entirely wrong, but because mine is the more complete view. And the more complete view is the true one. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are safe. And tonight, in this deep, quiet place, you are in my presence completely, fully, without reservation or condition or distance. Rest here, in this, in the truth of who you are and who I am, and the relationship between us that nothing in all of creation can touch. Rest.
My child, we are coming to the end of our time together tonight. And I want to close with something. I want to speak directly over your sleeping, over the hours of the night that are still ahead, over the morning that is coming, over the life that is waiting for you when the new day begins. Before you fully go, receive these words. Let them be the last things that enter your mind before the night takes you fully. You are not behind. I know that one of the things the enemy whispers in the quiet moments is that you have fallen behind, that others are further along, that time has been lost, that the gap between where you are and where you should be is your fault and is significant. That voice is lying. My timing for your life is not running behind schedule. My timing is never behind schedule. The pace of your becoming is exactly what it needs to be for the specific story I am writing with your life. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. Even in the seasons of silence, even when the specific thing you are praying for seems to receive no visible response, even when the waiting extends beyond what feels reasonable, you are not forgotten. I know your name. I know your situation. I know the specific prayer you have been praying for the longest time, and I am not silent because I have forgotten. I am working. At a depth beneath what creates visible movement. And what I am building beneath the surface is going to be visible soon. You are not disqualified. Whatever version of your history the enemy is using to make the case that the good things are for other people, that case is dismissed. My forgiveness is complete. My grace is sufficient. My purpose for your life has not been revoked by anything you have done or failed to do. You are not disqualified. You are in process, and being in process is exactly where you should be. You are going to be okay. I know that is hard to feel tonight. I know the evidence on the surface of things does not always support that conclusion. But I am a God who works at depths that the surface does not reflect until the appointed moment. And the appointed moment is coming. For the thing that is most unresolved, for the prayer that has been waiting the longest, for the dream that has been deferred, the appointed moment is coming. And when it comes, you are going to be okay. More than okay. You are going to look back on this night and know that this was part of the story, an important part, the part where you kept holding on, in the dark, trusting the one who holds the morning. Now sleep, my child. Sleep in the certainty that I am watching.